Hey YouTube, today I want to talk about health because without your health, you've got nothing. I mentioned yesterday in my introduction that I had some health challenges of my own. I have what's considered a rare disease. There are approximately 7,000 rare diseases known to man. 30 million Americans have rare diseases. That's 1 in every 10 Americans. Chances are you know someone who has a rare disease. Whether or not you know that they have it is another question. My illness is called Abetalipoproteinemia, and yes, it's even harder to spell than it is to pronounce. I'll spell it down in the comments below. My illness cannot be cured because in order to treat an illness with a medication, there has to be something wrong in the body. There's nothing wrong in my body, it's just that there's something missing. I'm not a doctor and I don't know every detail related to A beta, but as far as I understand it, my body does not produce the chemical needed in order to digest fat from the food that I eat. Seems rather innocuous at first. So we can't digest fat. Big deal. That should actually keep us pretty skinny, right? And it does. But it causes other problems. Without fat in your system, your body cannot transport important nutrients to other parts of the body. Fat is apparently a transporter in the bloodstream. The three main problems that A beta patients suffer from are first ataxia, which is a loss of balance. Second, neuropathy, which is a loss of sensation in your extremities. And third, a type of blindness that is akin to a illness called retinitis pigmentosa. Basically, the cells in the retina die over time. The only treatment for A beta are massive doses of vitamins. I take 36 vitamin E capsules a day. You know, the ones that you buy over the counter in the little dark bottles. So I go through a bottle of 100 in approximately 3 days. The reason I take so much is because my doctors believe that a little bit of the vitamin E gets into my bloodstream and helps to transport the necessary nutrients to other parts of the body. And the hope is that this will slow down the progression of my neuropathy and my ataxia. Ataxia, like I mentioned, is a loss of balance. So I have a little bit of trouble with balance sometimes. Not terribly bad, but I do have trouble stumbling sometimes. I do trip over things. My balance is not great, but I'm okay. Neuropathy is a loss of sensation. Basically, from my legs down, I have very little sensation. I'm still good enough to walk and I'm still able to feel my feet and stuff like that, but it's not much. Um, I also have a little bit of neuropathy in my arms, especially my hands. The symptoms of the neuropathy are sometimes pain, sometimes pins and needles and tingling, sometimes cold. Just depends from day to day. It seems like they change on a regular basis. The third thing, as I mentioned, is blindness due to progressive loss of my retinas. I take 4 vitamin A capsules a day plus 1 lutein capsule a day in an effort to try and preserve my vision. My vision has gotten bad enough now that I am considered legally blind and I can no longer drive. In fact, in the last year or so, I've started using those red and white canes that you see blind people using. In order to get a service dog, you have to use the cane first. So I've been using the cane long enough to get a service dog if I want one. Right now I have a cat, so I don't want to subject him to bringing a dog in the house. He's an older cat and he's not used to other animals. So for now, I'm fine with just using my cane. I still have vision. My central vision's pretty good, but I have very little peripheral vision. That's how this illness progresses. My peripheral vision gets worse and worse over time. I also have some blind spots in my vision, so things can be in front of me and I won't notice them. I've known for many years that I was going to lose my sight, but I didn't realize how bad it was getting until a few years ago. Then it started to become pretty obvious to me that I had a problem, and eventually I decided that it was time to stop driving, So I gave up my driver's license, sold my car, and now I rely on public transportation, my girlfriend, my roommate, and my family. And they all do an excellent job of getting me around. I don't know what I'd be doing without them. They've really been a tremendous help to me. So, yes, I've lost the ability to drive, which was a real blow. I was used to driving. I've been driving for about 25 years, and you don't realize how important that freedom is until you've lost it. And yes, I still miss driving. It's been about 3 years now since I've driven, and I would love to drive again. But unless they figure out a way to fix my retinas or give me new retinas, I don't see that possibility ever happening. The question remains at this point in my life, and I'm 51 years old, as to whether or not I'll ever go completely blind. I'm hoping I don't. I don't think I will, but that's certainly still a possibility. My vision is certainly worse now than it was a year or two ago. It's certainly worse than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And when I was growing up, I really didn't think I had much of a chance of going blind. As a matter of fact, I was a pretty rebellious kid, and I didn't really believe that A beta affected me much, so I didn't do any of the treatments that were required of me when I was growing up. So most of my teenage years and into my 20s and 30s, I was not taking my vitamins. It was only in my late 30s that I realized the damage that I had done to myself when I started noticing the neuropathy advancing up my legs, and I started to notice that I had some vision issues. That was when I started taking my vitamins on a regular basis. I started going back to the doctor, and I started getting treatment again for an illness that was not slowing down. As far as how you deal day to day with A beta, the main way to do it besides the vitamins is that you have to eat a very low fat diet, because any fat that you eat, your body cannot process, so it ends up causing you stomach issues. So I try to eat as low fat as I can. Luckily, I'm a pretty good cook, so I cook most of my own meals, and I'm very careful when I go out to eat that I only eat foods that I think will agree with me. It does seem like later in life my system has not been as tolerant as it was when I was younger for foods that contain fat. For some reason, I've always been a bit tolerant compared to other A beta patients, but lately it seems like I'm losing that tolerance. So those are the main ways that A beta affects me. I know there are other patients with it who also have other issues, and I feel for them. I wish there was a way I could help them better. I don't know exactly what those issues are, but I know that other A beta patients also have other health issues. It is a very serious illness. So now the question is, how can you help? Well, there are a number of ways you can help. First of all, you can advocate to your congressman. Please write your congressman, write your senators, write your elected officials, write your governments, and implore upon them to fund rare disease research. There are a number of charities that fund rare disease research, and I will link to those below. They are the Rare Diseases Network in the United States, EuroDis, I believe is what it's called, for rare diseases in Europe, and Rare Diseases in the UK. Those are the three main charities that I have found that fund rare disease research. You can also contact your local doctors and hospitals and urge them to further study rare illnesses. I feel like rare disease research is mostly ignored by the general medical community. Usually when I go to a new doctor, I have to start explaining to them what my illness is and how it affects me, and then they have to go home and research it themselves because most of them have never heard of it. I understand that. It's a very rare illness. Like I said, there's only about 150 of us on the planet. I don't expect every doctor to know everything about it, every illness, but better education for doctors would certainly help. It will help certainly with diagnosis. There are a lot of kids being born with A beta these days, it seems like. So it would help the medical community if they were better informed and better educated on how to diagnose rare illnesses. The last way you can help is I have started a Facebook group for A beta patients. You're welcome to join us and participate in our discussions, and who knows, maybe you'll find a way to help us too. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Please subscribe to my channel and like my videos. Have a good day. We'll talk to you guys later.